Welcome to Duo Deal Legends.
You know, we use them in pretty much every sentence we speak, but they're hiding some genuinely surprising secrets. I'm talking about nouns. They are the absolute foundation of our language, the words we use to name our entire world. Today, we're going to dig into the surprising science behind them. So, let's kick things off with a little puzzle. What could possibly connect an emotion like love, a specific place like London, and a swarm of bees? I mean, on the surface, they seem totally unrelated, but they all share one fundamental thing. Got any ideas? If you guessed nouns, you are absolutely spot on. That's right, they are the basic building blocks of every single sentence we create, the words we use to name the world around us, and yeah, the world inside us too. Without them, we couldn't really talk about, well, anything. Okay, so this is probably the classic definition you remember from school, right? A noun is a naming word, but just look at the sheer range that covers. It's everything from a specific person, a place like a park, a thing like a camera, and even something you can't physically touch like an idea. You know, the easiest way to wrap your head around this is to think of it like a game of I Spy. No, seriously, look around you right now. The phone or computer you're watching this on, that's a noun. The chair you're sitting in, noun. The feeling of curiosity you have, also a noun. If you can point to it or just think of it and give it a name, yep, it's a noun. But as soon as we start naming things, you quickly realize that not all nouns are created equal. The first, most basic way we can split them up is between the things we can experience with our five senses and, well, the things we can't. This gives us our first two major categories, the seen versus the unseen. And that brings us to concrete versus abstract nouns. Concrete nouns are all the physical stuff. You can see a tree, you can taste a pizza, you can hear music. But abstract nouns are just as real. They just represent concepts or feelings. You can't literally hold love in your hands or see time tick by, but we for sure talk about them all the time. One is physical, the other is conceptual. Simple as that. Okay, so we can sort nouns by whether they're physical or conceptual. But we can get way more precise. The next layer we're going to add is all about whether we're using a general name for something or a very, very specific one. And here's the best part. There's one simple visual clue that unlocks this whole category for you. And it all comes down to the capital letter. Seriously, getting this next type of noun right is all about knowing when to capitalize. And here's how that looks in action. On the left, we've got our common nouns. These are the general names for things. Man could be any man. City could be any city. But on the right, we've got proper nouns, the specific name. Not just any man, we're talking about Ganesh. Not just any city, it's London. The dead giveaway every single time, proper nouns always get a capital letter. And that is the one unbreakable rule. If you are naming a specific person, a particular place, a day of the week, a brand, a company, it gets a capital letter every time. There are no exceptions to this one. All right, now we get to what is honestly my favorite part, and one of the weirdest and coolest things about English, collective nouns. These are the special, single words we use for a whole group of things. This is where language starts to get really creative and kind of stylish. So most of us know that a group of wolves is called a pack. That's a classic. But our language has some way more unusual terms. For instance, what do you think you call a group of turtles? This is a great little bit of trivia to have in your back pocket. The answer? A bale of turtles. How awesome is that? And English is just packed with these amazing, super specific terms. You've got a swarm of bees, a scurry of squirrels, and my personal favorite, an army of caterpillars. You can just picture them marching along. So you might be wondering, why even bother learning these? Well, because using the right collective noun just makes your language sound more vivid, more interesting, more stylish. Sure, you can say a group of turtles and everyone will know what you mean, but saying a bale of turtles, that just shows you've got a real command of the language. Okay, for our final piece of this whole noun puzzle, let's look at how nouns can actually team up. Sometimes two or more words will combine their powers to create a totally new noun. These are called compound nouns, and trust me, they are absolutely everywhere in English. It's really simple. A compound noun is just a new noun made from two or more existing words. They pop up in three main ways. Sometimes they're squished into one word, like toothpaste. Other times they're hyphenated, like mother-in-law. And sometimes they just stay as two separate words that act like one thing, like ice cream. Okay, now here is the question that trips a lot of people up. It's easy to make a simple noun plural, right? You usually just add an S. But with something like mother-in-law, where does that S actually go? Is it mother-in-laws or is it mothers-in-law? Well, lucky for us, the rule is actually super simple once you know it. All you have to do is find the main word in the phrase, the most significant one. So in brother-in-law, the main person is the brother. So that's the word that gets the S. It becomes brothers-in-law. Easy. And this logic works for all of them. For swimming pool, the main thing is the pool, so you have swimming pools. For passerby, the person is the passer, so you get passersby. It's always about finding that one core word and making that the plural one. And there you have it, from concrete versus abstract to common versus proper, and all the way to those cool collective and compound nouns. You now have the complete toolkit, all the essential building blocks you need to really master nouns. So I'll leave you with one last thing to think about. We've seen all the ways nouns help us describe and define our world. But which type do you think is the most powerful? Is it the proper noun, with its ability to single out one unique person or place from all the rest? Or is it the abstract noun, which lets us talk about huge, world-changing ideas like justice or freedom? There's no right answer, of course, but it's pretty interesting to think about. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you by Duo D Legends.